Mitch, tell me, kind of run down what happened when they came in.
Well, I mean, we open like we normally do. You know, our hours are 10 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, and we opened as we normally do, and we'd already had a couple of customers, and then these three well-dressed people came in, and two of them started shopping at this showcase over here, my mom showing them things, and the other one was here, and I was sitting back here at my desk, which he shot a hole in, by the way. And this fellow was trying to get my attention, and he says, ring clean, ring clean. I said, okay, because we clean people's rings for free here. We've been here 36 years, and we do that for folks all the time. So I walked out here, and I took his ring, and I walked through this, going back here to the back to do just that, and I hear this hand slap the glass really loud, and I thought, wow. And about that time, I realized he had vaulted over this, and he met me right there with a pistol in my face. And he was saying, don't move, don't move. And he's, you know, he's trying to push me back in there. And I just advanced on him and grabbed him. And I'm pushing him back out here. I don't have a great grip on him. And he got his hand loose and hit me with his pistol twice in my head. And we began to scuffle and fight right here. You can see where the blood is here in the floor. And long story short, several pistol rounds were discharged from either his partner over here or from this gun. There's a bullet hole there. See one over here in the wall that ricocheted off of the desk. This one went right past my mother, who the other fellow had pulled across the counter like this with a, and the girl was holding her as well with a pistol to her head. And so we're here wrestling, and I got a hold of his gun hand, and after those shots were fired, it's hard to, I mean, I'm trying to think what happened, but to make a long story short, he decided things weren't going like they had planned. He vaults back over the case here, and they began to advance toward the door, backing away to get out of here. And and then they go outside the door, they go to the left a little bit there. I realize that other guy, he's still armed. And my mom has the presence of mind. I'm saying, get a gun, get a gun. She just picked up one right off the floor here, and it apparently was the assailant's. He had dropped it in the scuffle, and I fired 3 rounds in their direction there. And an hour trying to figure out there, I shot way high. And anyway, one of the men was wounded, and they caught all 3 of them here locally. The police were on it immediately and rounded all 3 of them up, and they're in jail. And the one that was injured may well have been shot by his friend here. This fellow that was standing over here shot, my mother says, trying to shoot me because I had his friend pinned down here and scuffling with him, and he may have missed and shot his accomplice in the process.
What about you? Do you think they just pistol whipped, or do you think you may have gotten hit too?
Well, pardon me?
Do you think you may have gotten hit with one of the flying bullets, or not the way?
No, I don't think I have any. I don't have any injuries from projectiles. No, just getting whacked really good in the head, and when I had a hold of this guy, I figured, well, you know, I'll just take him down to the ground. So I just fell backwards with him on me. I thought, well, this beats scuffling with him standing up, and that's when the shots began to be fired. And when I did, I fell on my elbow and messed that up. But I'm all in one piece. We win.
What do you think with that gun? I mean, did you even think about it with him with that gun in his hand?
You don't think about that. I wasn't going to be robbed. That's the size of it. So.
Your mother is what, 78 years old?
She's cool. She took all this in. I said I needed a gun. She handed me one. So, you know, those guys, they just bit off more than they could chew. You know, they apparently, I mean, this was poorly planned. I mean, these people come in here, they're dressed nice, they look nice, their faces aren't covered. Idiotic.
How far did you chase them when they left out of the building?
Okay, so I chased them all the way across, well, block and a half, trying to. There was a suspicious car. I thought this was the car that they got in, going out this way from the parking lot there to the south, and I thought, that's their car, or, you know, something associated with it. So I ran over there and I got that car's license number. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to me, the Eichenhorst boy over here that owns the funeral home, he chased down the woman and caused her to surrender right there, dropped her purse, laid down on the ground, and they found the other 2 fellows hiding here and there. And like I say, one injured, apparently. I don't, and now that we're piecing this together slowly but surely, you know, I don't know how that happened to him, but he got a little of his own medicine.
What do you think? I mean, your mother, how old is she? She's
78.
She take it up pretty much.
She's a school counselor. She's learned to put up with virtually all the bad behavior that anybody can stomach. So, and she can corral just about anybody. She didn't quite talk those people out of what they were doing, but you know, worked out okay.
Appreciate it.
How to get to that one? So that's why I thought this was his bullet hole here, because I mean I finally got a hold of his hand. I was trying to keep him from hitting me more in the head. I was afraid he's going to knock me out. But when I got a hold of his hand, then that's when the guns went off. My mom says it's from this fella here shooting at me. So
Mitch, when he came in, he wanted the ring cleaned. Tell me about the ring. What happened to the ring?
well, so the guy, you know, you know, in afterthought, you know, I guess he seemed a little nervous. He says, "Clean, clean," and I said, "Fine," and he handed it to me, and I had that in my hand when I was walking back there. Long story short, the ring's laying here after they leave, so they didn't get to rob us, and I kept his ring. Yeah, actually, the police have it now. So.
And his gun, yeah.
Well,
You what?
You couldn't pull it hard enough.
I couldn't pull it.
Yeah.
I tried to fire the gun.
The guy, let me tell you what, the guy had only 5 rounds in a 6, I mean, it's a 6, has a block. As long as that trigger is not fully depressed, there's a block on the hammer. You couldn't hit it with a sledgehammer and make it go off.
He probably stole the gun. He didn't know anything about it.
And I don't even know where I got it. Somewhere
Right here. You picked it up off the floor. But this is onto the assailant. It's this pistol with a round butt. And a much newer one. This is one from 1958.
And that's what he hit you with?
But you know, for all I know, he was shot by then.
I don't know. It was while you
I
all
couldn't,
were
now that
listening,
I'm looking at this window.
Mitch, when you from here was fired, because I thought, oh,
Okay, but more rounds were fired.
no. But
Well,
then the
sure.
the next ones were when you were on the ground. On the floor.
And shoot that one over there. So,
This is where I
so
was standing.
one of these men standing right there. That's how close
This
it came
bullet
to hitting my
went
mother.
here and into the wall. I was standing here.
Man, I'll tell you what, that seemed like a heck of a ricochet.
That looked like a.
Squealing like a pig on the.
That's 38, right? Yeah, that's a heck of a ricochet.
And this desk has not been moved for this
No.
show.
Well, honey, ricochet works that way. There was nobody back here, you know, aiming at that. That's that bullet. Trust me. It's in the wall somewhere there next to it. Going out like this, I guess.
I'll get like that way right here.
Gee whiz.
I didn't.
Go ahead, Ray. You're fine.
Well, I don't, you know, as far as traffic goes, so many people walking here, I don't know what we're going to track, you know. Excuse me, Scott. I'm going to go look and see it.
Tell me what you got.
We had at 10:23 a.m. a report of an attempted robbery in progress at Wilkins Jewelers, located in Cortland Place Shopping Center in the 1700 block of North Fraser. We arrived on scene, found that Mr. Wilkins, the owner of the jewelry store, had been severely beaten. During the scuffle with the robbers, he got a gun that belonged to the robbers, fired shots at him, didn't hit apparently any of them. Bystanders out in the parking lot saw the suspects running out of the door after the gunshots. They were able to chase down and capture one of the suspects, the citizen did, and the other one was found shortly thereafter by constables with the Precinct 2 Constable's Office who were searching the area with us, helping us out. They located him, so we have 2 in custody at this time and a possible 3rd suspect that we're looking for.
Any idea description on the 3rd suspect?
Hispanic male, short dark hair, wearing a beige shirt, beige pants.
All right, how bad was Mitch?
Mitch took a pretty good beating and everything, but he was very conscious and able to talk and give us a lot of information. He's been transported to Montgomery County Medical Center where he's probably going to need some stitches and stuff at Conroe Regional Hospital, but he's doing well.
But he was able to get the gun away from him.
Apparently during the scuffle, the gun fell down behind the counter as they were struggling over the counter. Mitch's mother retrieved the pistol and handed it to Mitch, who was able to fire off some rounds at him as they were trying to get out the door.
Okay, and no one else hurt?
No, not that we're aware of.
All right, and one of the suspects was a female?
One was a female, one's a male.
Okay, all right.
So first of all, give me your name, first name and last name.
My name is Shirley Wilkins.
Tell me what happened today.
Mitch, the owner of the store, and I were inside when a man and a woman approached the counter. The woman, whom I recognized, asked to see some jewelry, which I showed them. While I was doing that, another person entered the store. Mitch asked if he could help him, and he wanted his ring clean. And when that encounter took place, all of a sudden I looked up and they were engaged in a wrestling match on our side of the counter. And there was a lot of loud noise, and then I looked and Mitch was bleeding on his face, and they were wrestling with a gun and wrestling, and then there was a shot fired from somewhere, I think in the front of me, because the couple in front of me, the man did have a gun pointed to me, and I was being restrained on my arms, and he fired a shot, and then there were 2 other shots fired from the other side of the room, and then they were on the floor wrestling, and then after the 2 shots were fired, the perpetrator jumped across the counter and they all fled. End of my story.
When they first came in, did one of them have a gun to you or point a gun at you at all?
Not at all. We talked about the jewelry. I was showing them the jewelry. The gun was not pulled until this person jumped across the counter and encountered Mitch.
Okay.
And that's when the gun appeared and they grabbed me and held me.
Okay, now which one held you?
Both the man and the woman. The woman had me with her 2 hands, and he had me with 1 hand and had a gun in the other.
Okay. And that's when they had jumped the counter at that point.
The other person had already jumped the counter. They never jumped the
They
counter.
never did?
No,
Okay.
no.
So you were behind the counter? Or
I was behind the
behind
counter.
the counter? Okay, so when the one jumped the counter, got a hold of Mitch, and then were wrestling on the ground, where did the first shot come from, do you believe?
I don't know where the first one came from. I think it came from my side of the room, the man that was holding me.
Okay.
And he fired in the direction of Mitch and the other person. And then the next thing I knew, they were on the ground, on the floor, and 2 more gunshot wounds, and Mitch was bleeding.
Okay.
2 more gunshots, rather, at close range.
Okay. Now, when did Mitch get a hold of the gun?
After they left, he said, I don't know exactly what his words were, but he told me to get his gun or get a gun, and I looked, and there was a gun there, and I handed it to him. Turns out,
one of them dropped their gun.
and Mitch did not have a gun at that time, so it had to be one of them.
Okay. And he fired some shots at him through windows or
Yes.
at doors?
Yes,
Okay, and then chased him across the parking lot?
yes.
How far across?
See, I don't know. At least, I don't know. I've looked out to see where he was, and he was just this side of that building talking to the police that had already arrived
Okay, they were here real quick. I mean,
very quickly.
okay. All right. What do you think about this whole thing? I mean, you've got also the female, Ivy, from over here. When Jason, what do you think about that, chasing after that female?
I think she's very wonderful, very brave, and I'm so glad she was there.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, your name?
Justin Ivy.
Ivey.
Ivey, yes, sir.
Justin, run down what all happened this morning. You were at the funeral home. What happened from there?
I came outside after I ate my lunch this morning, and I came out to smoke a cigarette and was sitting outside, and I always kind of watch around the parking lot and stuff, and I noticed these two people. Nothing unordinary caught my eye or nothing, and I watched them go in, you know, smoking my cigarette, and all of a sudden I heard pow, pow, pow about 4 or 5 times. To me it sounded like a gun, but I wasn't sure, so I still was continuing smoking my cigarette, and I seen the two run out of the store, and she walked right in front of me, and he took off the other way, went across the street. And when she walked in front of me, I asked her, I said, "Hey, what's going on over there?" And she was like, "Nothing, I wasn't in there, I don't know." And I was like, "Oh, are you sure? Because I just saw you come out of there." And she just continued to walk. So when I see Mr. Wilkins come out bleeding on the face, then I was like, okay, something happened. So I began to chase her, and because she was closest to me.
And tell me about the chase. Tell me how, kind of run it down, the details of the chase there.
Well, by the time Mr. Wilkins had came out of the store, and she had already made it to the end of our building and was running on Wilson. And so I ran down her, and as soon as I got on Wilson, she was already 2 streets down. And so I began to chase her and ran her down, and she cut through the church and went through the front side of the church into the neighbor's yard and tried to hide on the side of a shipping container. And at that time I kind of slowed down because I thought she was waiting for me to come around the corner, and I thought I heard her clicking a gun or something, so I kind of backed off and waited for her, and I went around the back side, and I seen that she had already left, changed shirts, and was jumping the fence. And she got over the fence, dumped her purse and her handbag, and then took off running to the next street, which I can't remember the name of the street, but she ran down there, and I jumped the fence, jumped the next fence, and then chased her down to the corner when she finally laid down, and the police...
Tell me what she did when she gave up. How'd she...
Well, she just kind of stood there, didn't really do anything, because she got cornered. I was coming from one end, and I had her up against the back side of the apartments, and by the time I got there and had her, she stopped running and everything, and by the time I got there, she stopped running, and then the police officer showed up, and she just laid down.
Okay.
And got on the ground.
Did she say anything at all?
Nope, didn't say not one word.
How was she dressed coming out of the building when she first came out?
She was wearing about a V-cut blouse, black and blue speckled.
And just kind of dressed nice?
Yeah, kind of.
What about shoes?
Just looks like little slipper, like, you know, the kind of little slippers.
Yeah, no problem running in those?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. She didn't.
What do you think this whole time you're chasing her? I mean, what was running through your head?
You know, I really couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, did they really shoot? Because I thought they, you know, was just unloaded on the guy. Mm-hmm. And that, I did not, you know, like that at all. So I really, really did not want her to get away after what they just did. Okay. Yep.
All right. And spell your first and last name again?
My first name is Justin, and my last name is Ivey, Ivey.
Okay.